Why do you think I have Chris? Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay, just not here.
Wow, we got a full game tonight. Goodness. Well, I'm glad I went to the pre meeting. Did you leave breadcrumbs for us so they knew how to get out here? I don't like this, Robert, because then at least I can see who's on, and I know we can't keep it that way, but.
Yeah, I mean, it would be nice. I could, but it just kind of overlaps what I display. We just say a bigger TV, that's all.
I'm not gonna say a gender comment, but I.
I mean, what, choose after that.
Yeah, they always want bigger. Let's go. They were. Yeah, and so let's think of the motion. We got 5 minutes.
Yeah, but we are recording, so
But you're not gonna.
fair warning. Live's gonna be gone.
That's a house.
Family thing, feeling nice. Nothing serious, just replan it. Made that sound way more ominous than it was. Did you see what was it? Oh. Broke his arm and everything. And it's both. Yeah. Yeah, so he's in a cast now and bruised the head. That is also. His wife posted pictures. Yeah. Wow. What animal kicked him? How to get in the face? No, he just went to grass really. People think, oh, that's the thing, I love it. But
I don't know if that's the word.
you've been served.
Robert, you're on recording.
Did you get naked this one? Yeah, it's law and order.
Okay, this is a big commercial break. We can play the cops theme song.
Hey, what's the record that was?
Park Nation.
What is?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they're both bad.
I haven't seen any new
Yeah,
ones.
we'll see everything back.
I used to like watch that.
Hey, I think if you guys ever do this.
Stupidest things that are like.
You know, they came up here.
No, we're gonna have a motion to adjust it. I have a motion, so we're gonna have a second.
Was that YPD up here too, when they did that? It might have been. I'm not sure. I'm fairly certain.
Yeah.
I remember them being in St. Joe County. Yeah. But of course, there's St. Joe, Indiana, and St. Joe. Yeah, across the state. You know, St. Joe.
Good, you can free.
Okay, top then. Yeah, that could be. I'm pretty sure it's.
Community crossing.
Out of St. Joe. It's like in January.
Yeah.
It's smaller than this. Yeah. I mean, they have some. They did. They want to really.
And then they have to match that.
Yeah.
I saw it on it.
Is it their first? Second?
They didn't apply. No, they applied for 23, January 23rd.
They're not regulars like us.
They got off sequence.
Oh, seems the day.
That is not the right part of it.
Uh-oh.
That's not the one I put on it.
Well, and look at, are you looking at units or the individual file or the mass file?
The minus five.
Alright, so look at the one in the individual file. It's somewhere.
And it's, mine goes through, the fire. On fire. Right there.
One device.
Well, that's not. This came on the team.
So the team one around it?
One thing seems to be wrong.
Do you wanna use?
Wow. Do I need to load it? Should I be?
Yeah, then I'll just, once it's on team, I'll pull it out. And pull it.
Wonders of technology.
Oh, we'll figure it out. We'll lead into it, but no, we're fine. We're 7 o'clock. We'll call our April regular meeting to order. Start with the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and
To the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Robert, do you want to review the Zoom instructions, please?
Yes, good evening, those, if you have a comment, at the appropriate time, if you're on Zoom, please use your action. Or comment, function of Zoom and when the time's appropriate, I'll call on you. And then those of you that are with us, we do have speakers and the ceiling, so try to keep the talking down to a minimal, because we can pick that up during conversations, and then just make sure you're clear as well. So,
Thank you, Robert. And I would ask all council members and anybody speaking to speak into the microphone and make sure your microphone's on. We've had some challenges at some previous meetings, maybe not council meetings, but other ones, so people could be clear and have the mics on. Thank you. Now we will do introductions. Nathan, we'll start with you.
Nathan Striker, clerk treasurer, 73 South Clear Drive.
Bert Elliott, 1058 South Clear Lake Drive, Ward 3.
Good evening, Dan Rippey, 126 Lakeside Court, Ward 2.
Molly Weber, 822 South Clear Lake Drive, member at large.
George Tackle, 144 West Clear Lake Drive, Ward 1.
Brent Slusser, 95 Penner Drive. Council member at large. Chris Summer, Tom Martin.
Robert Paul, zoning administrator.
Thank you, everybody. And now we need a motion to approve our agenda as it's displayed on the screen.
So Molly, I'd like to make a motion to put an addition on the agenda for Will Howard, who is representing the Steuben County Commissioners. This is in regards to the NIPSCO natural gas situation. I sent an email to the group on the 10th of April. And just for convenience and to make it easy for everybody, if we could, I would like to move that we do that before item number 6.
This is George, and I'll second that motion.
Thank you, George and Bert. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Will, we'll turn it over to you. And if you want to go to the microphone so it's easier for everybody.
Sure.
And we could take a minute if you want to introduce the 2 other gentlemen that came with you.
Thank you.
Your moral support.
I'm Will Howard, president of the Steuben County Board of Commissioners at Reps Lexus. With me is Andy Laughlin, commissioner for the North District, and Rick Scheit. You're not at large, you're in District 2 of County Council. And thank you for letting me interrupt your normal agenda. I just presented this information to the town of Fremont, and Molly was kind enough to invite me up since I was here. I don't know if you want the Clip Notes version or if you want the elongated version of this, but you're probably well aware of the situation we have regarding infrastructure and natural gas and provider with NIPSCO. NIPSCO, for about 18 months now, has been working with a group of individuals some of our elected officials locally and around the state, some of our local business leaders, and just several other people from around the community in an effort to resolve the natural gas situation. NIPSCO's provided some short-term investments that has provided some relief to that. The one being the substation that they're working on outside of Hamilton, which would provide 800 decatherms to the Fremont area. Just to give you an idea of what the capacity of that is, might be one large industrial customer, several smaller commercial customers, or roughly 500 residential. That investment is at NIPSCO's cost. Then the second phase of those short-term solutions is the expansion of the capacity on the line south of Angola on 27. Those improvements that have been done with NIPSCO's investment and participation by the end user. You may be well aware of our judicial center that we built. The county was cost shared about $186,000 to get capacity to our facility. Trine has had some expansions that they've had to assist with. Cameron Hospital also has had some expansion they've had to assist with. So there's been a number of people that have shared that with NIPSCO. But now we're working on a longer term solution, one that we're being told will last roughly 25 years based on the growth projections that they've been provided with by Schenectady County Economic Development. NIPSCO's hands can be tied at times a little bit. From the standpoint as they operate under something called a tariff, which is through the Indiana Utility Regulatory Commission, IURC. And they strictly abide by it. So where they are right now, in order to get this delivery system into and through Steuben County to a central location where they can disperse from it, looking at about 48,000 feet of 12-inch high-pressure steel pipe. Bring some capacity to us. Where they're at right now is that their engineering for this is at a point where it needs some local participation. And what they have asked of our community, and we're asking in turn, is for everyone to participate in this. It is not just an Angola problem. It's not just a Fremont problem. It's not just in Hamilton or Clear Lake or Ashley or Orland problem. It's everybody's problem because the lack of that infrastructure affects everyone. And by that, the engineering service agreement that we've been asked to enter into is at the cost of $1 million. That price includes some permitting, some engineering, some administrative fees, some acquisition of right-of-way, some various permittings. There's a lot that goes into that. In order to try to make this as fair as we possibly could, we had suggested that we use the 2020 census population to determine how to ask for participation by each community. We were looking for a fixed number to use. You know, your populations are going to increase and decline, but a fixed time, fixed number. So that's what we did. And I handed out to you earlier what that looks like. Town of Clear Lake would be asked to provide $10,280.24 as part of that $1 million. With that said, I went to my county council on the 9th and they approved a contract of $1 million. The county will be the holder of the ESA, the engineering service. So we will be responsible for the entire amount. What we've asked is participation by each of these communities. NIPSCO would bill the county on a quarterly basis for their fees and provide us a itemized of what they've done. We would then turn around and take your portion of it and send you an invoice for it. They believe it'll take approximately 1 year to complete the engineering study on this. So it's likely that it would roll over into 2 budget cycles for most municipalities. It has been presented to the city of Angola, which they have given us a nod of yes, they would participate. It has been presented, like I said, to council, and council has agreed to back the entire $1 million if necessary. And I just presented to the town of Fremont and got a positive response from them. So NIPSCO right now, based on that tariff or that contract that they have with the IURC, are at a point where they can no longer do any additional work without some participation by us. They have the assets ready to go. They need an answer from us in a relatively short period of time, whether we are or are not going to participate. If we take too long, then it's likely that they will move those assets, those engineering hours, those surveyor hours, all those things that go into this to another project, and we will just be on the back. So the ask would be for you to enter into a memorandum of understanding with the county for your portion of the ESA expenses. So what does the yes answer mean for us? It means we'll finalize the ESA agreement with NIPSCO. But more importantly, a yes answer to this would mean that we will get capacity to continue to grow the entire county as a whole. What's a no answer mean? It means that the engineering stops until we can derive another way of doing this. It doesn't mean we're going to give up. It just puts us further behind. So this battle has been going on for quite a while. We have a good dialogue with NIPSCO right now, and we're asking that you help us move this forward. Questions, as long as the president allows.
Oh, she likes questions. Question? Yes.
Did you state what the deliverables were from NIPSCO for the $1 million?
They will, so each quarter they will provide us an itemized log, if you will, of the work that they've completed. The deliverables in terms of the quantity of gas is well beyond my knowledge, but there will be a high pressure 12-inch line at some point in the, say, just the center of the county that will feed and backfeed most of the systems.
And they've presented those plans.
No, that's what part of this engineering studies for. But they know that it's going to take about 48,000 feet of 12-inch pipe at 325 PSI at the end to get us there.
So is there a risk of spending the $1 million and not actually getting any additional gas that they blow through the money and?
Yes.
Okay. And
Now,
have you assessed that?
From that standpoint, I kind of look at it this way. This first $1 million is an investment right now. If we do not complete the project, then it's money spent as opposed to money invested. The county is ready to commit to that end result. We will be participating in a project that's approximately $60 million right now to get that done.
So 60 million already spent, is that what that means?
No, 60 million would be roughly what the cost estimate of getting that pipe here right now.
Okay, and we're participating at $1 million at this point.
At this point,
We collectively.
collectively, correct, yes.
And of this list of figures, how many commitments do you have in place?
We have Steuben County, the city of Angola, the town of Fremont so far. And I am on the agenda for, I believe it's the 6th of May for Town Hamilton.
So what would you say the payback is for a town like Clear Lake, Fremont? What's the pay? What's the return?
The payback for it is going to come in your ability to grow as a community. There is no gas capacity right now. If someone will want to build a 20-house subdivision up in this general area, gas capacity isn't there. And most developers look for that infrastructure to be there when they develop a business if they want to open in this area. It's not there without significant investment on their part.
So if I'm Angola or Fremont and looking to grow at housing developments, there's, industrial parks that ready to be, built on and so on. I could definitely see the payback there, right? Because that's a growth equation for them. I'm just wondering if we're a very small town, we have very small population, don't really have a lot of upside for growth. And according to the formula here, like I'm all in on, like I agree, it's a county issue. And as a county taxpayer paying $29, $30, whatever it is, makes sense. I guess I'm struggling a little bit with a resident of Clear Lake paying twice that, basically. And then, like, I'm not seeing help me see the payback for the town from a revenue tax base point of view. I'm struggling with that.
Okay. So from that standpoint, you have people that probably reside here that work throughout the county. Those businesses, let's say, may potentially leave, which means you have decreased employment. So you may lose jobs from the people who live in your community. The second part is, as those communities grow countywide, so will your tax revenues, because you participate in LIT. You participate in those shared taxes. So as those revenues decline, so do your receipts.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
And I just want to make one
And as they
comment.
expand, likewise.
Thank you, Will. And we will get to the public. We'll have council continue with some questions and then we'll open it up for public.
And just Bert, one of the other things that was discussed a lot in the past with the nature of Clear Lake and Steuben County is the services that are required, or I should say required, that some of our residents want are supplied from those businesses that need the gas in Angola, in Fremont, in Orland. So it's not only for employment purposes, it's also for services rendered out here. And to be able to have those businesses that can complete what the demands of the community are.
Thank you. Any other questions?
I got this quick question. Where does the regulatory commission for the utilities stand on this issue? Do they have a position at all? It seems like they should be there.
So give you a little bit of history. So the IURC is appointed by the governor of the state of Indiana. And there's, I believe, 5 members in here, been appointed and reappointed over the years. The utility is required to file their plans through something called a TDISC. Don't ask me what it stands for, it's an acronym. And in order to get that accepted by the IURC, it has to be approved on by the Indiana EDC. First of all, or secondly, they can ask for updates to that TDISC twice a year, and this would be part of that ask for that expansion. What the IURC looks at is the entirety of NIPSCO's territory, and in order to ask them to have all of their customers paid, does it benefit the entire area? So an expansion here probably doesn't help the people in Mishawaka or in South Bend or going east into the region area. So the IURC is not likely to allow them to spread it over that. So there's two ways that infrastructure gets paid for. One is through customers. The other one's through taxpayers, and oddly, they're the same people. So to get through the IURC, NIPSCO has to follow that tariff that they've made.
So they're looking at more globally, statewide than.
Probably more
individually.
regionally wide.
Regionally.
I believe NIPSCO is maybe as far south as Anderson and then up to the Michigan state line.
So if this gas shortage was greater than Steuben County, it may have their attention, but because it's only Steuben, is it
Right
only?
now, it's only, there are other communities that have the same problem. But their requirement under the tariff is only to provide what is necessary at the time. So are they meeting the current demands? Yes. Are they meeting future demands? Not of us. I mean, and
And those
that's,
other communities have that same shortage?
Yeah.
Have you reached out to them and tried to collaborate collectively?
Yeah.
With the commission?
we're getting the same responses
Still not big
in
enough?
those areas.
Thank you.
Any other questions from council? If we could have, yes.
Yeah, I'll move that we open this meeting up to the public.
I'll second that. Councilor Brent.
Public, I think Todd, you had your hand up.
First, a comment to those who need the elevator speech as to why Clear Lake should help fund a county expansion. I'm 432 Point Park. I also am the chief medical officer at Cameron. I'm also the board treasurer at Cameron. And we have enjoyed at Cameron a nice expansion and ability to address the services needed for this community's health and wellness. And without this, we can't expand. So it goes much beyond a 20-house addition or industry within Clear Lake. It truly is infrastructure of the county unless you guys want to drive to Coldwater or Marshall or Fort Wayne for healthcare. It's not possible to grow unless this happens. So that if you need that in your pocket to justify spending town's money, there is a small example of how we all enjoy the convenience and quality of healthcare in this community. It's not a given and we're not entitled to it. We have to work for it. The second is just a question about, is the ESA for determining the anticipated need? Do we have a preconceived, are we doing 150% of current need? Are we doing 100% of stated need? Or are we doing a percentage of anticipated need in engineering? Is that part of the process or is it already been established?
It's part of the process. However, they have been, NIPSCO and their engineers have been provided with a number of requests for gas service that we have seen over the past 10 years. So they have an idea of what we are lacking in order to grow. So they will put that as part of that calculation.
I guess your comment of a 12-inch pipe tells me that there is a preconceived limit on which they can bring, unless a 12-inch pipe is the max they have ever done. What if their engineering says a 14-inch pipe? Are they married to 12 inches or is that just the best guess right now until we
Well,
get engineering?
if I understand from speaking with them that the formulas that they were using actually showed, I believe, that either 6 or an 8-inch pipe was large enough. They're increasing it to 12 on their cost.
That helps some things.
Any other questions from the, yeah?
I have two questions. First, you stated there was it 10,000 for the town of Clear Lake? 10,000?
10,000 280.24. $10,280.24 would be their portion of the $1 million based on population.
And what was that population?
354.
354.
Thank you.
$20 is what our population.
Roughly, it's, yeah, if you take the total $1 million and divide it by the population, it's just $1 per person. It's just not per household, but per person.
Okay, the 2020 census. Any other questions? Susie, Kathy? Yeah, Susie's question.
$1 million is just for the engineering portion.
It's for the engineering portion to get it to a, what they call a class 5 cost estimate, which would allow them then to present or present to the IURC, which would allow them to do the expansion. I can tell you that it would further require an investment from the county of roughly $30 million.
Above and beyond the.
That would be on,
That would be for,
that would be for the actual construction.
so will those costs be divided approximately?
Right now, we have a stacked funding mechanism that we're working on to fund the county's side of that, which would include a number of grant opportunities through the state of Indiana and the federal.
Any other questions from the public? Comments?
Anyone via Zoom?
I have one if I'm available. It's available. What would be the potential monthly impact for carrying charges, delivery charges, and some of the other expenses that we incur today? The delivery of gas to our homes today has a very high dollar amount. In addition to the usage amount, what impact will that have in the future?
NIPSCO, from my understanding, is adding this to their current TDISC plan that they're working under. So it should not. I can't speak for them, but based on what I understand, it should not affect anyone's bill. They're not asking the IURC for an increase to billing in order to do this project.
Which the increase does have to be approved if they're requesting, correct?
If there was an increase to your monthly gas bill, that would have to go through the IURC for approval. At which time, anyone who wanted to testify as to whether it was appropriate or not could do so.
Previously working for a public service company, I haven't experienced any rate increases that have been requested that have not been turned down. So the chances of that are probably pretty minimal. I just want to make sure there wasn't anything planned in the immediate future.
Nothing planned that I've been made aware of.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the public? No, I still move to close the public portion.
George, and I'll second the motion.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none. Motion carries. Public comment is closed. So that we have an ask
This
from,
is just an ask, so it's an ask for your participation at the requested level. You're not necessarily needing to budget it out or appropriate it tonight. We're just, before we actually sign the ESA agreement, we'd like to kind of know where everybody's at. So what's a yes answer get us? Yes answer gets us to, we will move forward with that execution to work towards providing that infrastructure that's needed for our communities to stay healthy and grow. What's a no answer mean? Doesn't mean we're going to give up. It just means we'll look for alternative solutions, but it's going to push the potential solutions further out. Because there are assets in place at NIPSCO right now waiting for us to respond. And if we do not respond timely, those assets will get pushed off to it.
Could you just briefly go back through the timing of payments if we were to participate? You mentioned it and I didn't.
So once the ESA is executed by the county, payments will be, invoices will be billed to the county quarterly. So it's likely that you would see your first one in mid-fall, September, October area, and it would be quarterly after that.
Okay, thank you.
And those would vary. It's basically a pay as you go. They're gonna show us the work they've done, and we'll pay based on that.
Well, sorry, one question. Sure. Benchmarks. Do NIPSCO have established benchmarks that should they not hit them within a certain time frame, that they're going to commit to applying additional resources to keep them on the timeline to keep this project moving forward?
Good question. I would say the answer to that is our ability to review where they're at in the process every 3 months. They're going to have to share that information with us so they can be challenged at that time. We're gonna hold their feet to the fire. Didn't start this, I didn't start into this to not have a success.
So we've heard, can we entertain a motion to forward with the MOU or not to move forward?
First, I'll make a motion. Or.
This is Brent, I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
You did, because I was looking to see, but. I will abstain.
Okay, so we have 4 yeses, 1 abstain, motion carries. Thank you, Will, Rick, and Andy for being here and entertaining questions.
Thanks for having us on short notice.
Yeah,
Appreciate that.
Please reach out to Bert when we can be involved in those meetings because we have our own challenges with NIPSCO.
Very good. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, gentlemen.
Okay, we will move on with the rest of our agenda. So now we will go to the approval of monthly reports. The next thing we have on the agenda are the meeting minutes from the March 19th meeting. If I can entertain a motion. Oh, did you have it, Robert?
I'm sorry, say that again?
Oh, okay. Minutes. Thank you. Need a motion to approve the minutes.
This is Brent, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
Thank you, Brent. A second.
Nortel, second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, hearing none, motion carries. Thank you. Nathan, if you could present the voucher register and warrant, please.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. The voucher for this month runs from March 21st through April 15th. On the general side, we have a total of $92,568.73. Of that, $9,414 was attorney fees, and that's total for all the attorneys on both sides. On the sewer fund, the total amount is $31,701.86. There's a couple of things I want to bring your attention to. On the 21st of March, we made a payment to NDOT for $21,401.75. That was a return of last year's street grant money. On the 17th, of April, we have a $1,383.01 for Motorola. That is for the police and their system that they use when they're pulling people over, I assume.
No, it's for our reporting system, and that's for state and that's.
So that's what that's for. And then the one last thing I wanted to bring your attention to was the TriStar quote on the 17th of April. You see on the third page for $14,343.04. And I believe we're going to be talking about that quite a bit more. So that brings the total for all funds that I'm asking for approval from the council to $133,684.59.
Any questions for Nathan?
Only comment that I want to give Nathan kudos for adding, council will see those, the appropriation column. So there's now no question as to where the various charges are being appropriated to and what budget is covering them. So thank you very much, Nathan. I did review each and every one of these and find that they are accurate. So thank you.
Very good. Thank you.
Great job, Nathan and Dan. So do we have a motion?
So I would make a motion to approve the voucher register as written.
And a second?
George, I'll second the motion.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Nay? Hearing none, motion carries. Thank you very much. Now we're going to get to new business. And before we go through the opioid fund transfer, something that we are going to do, and I'm going to ask council and our audience to bear with me a little bit. We're doing something new. I think we've all been through those meetings where we've been reading multiple times through every page of an ordinance, every page of a resolution. We have worked with our attorneys and we do not need to do that if we follow a different process. So resolutions, we will be moving forward just like we do any other business, a motion, a second, and a vote. And we just need the majority of council to move forward with those resolutions. You don't need to read the whole thing, just read the number and the title as you make your motions, please. Regarding our ordinances, it's going to be a few steps that we need to do. There's going to be a motion to introduce the ordinance by the number and the title. And then we'll read the number and the title. And we will then need a motion for unanimous consent. So it will require all of us to agree to move forward with that. Then we can accept a motion to adopt the ordinance. With the ordinance, it requires a 2/3 vote. So with our council of 5, 4 of us will have to be in agreement and 1 can oppose, or all 5 can. And then we can adopt the ordinance that night at the meeting. If we do not get that, or we don't get our unanimous vote on the motion, it will be carried over to the next meeting. But we will no longer have to read everything. It'll only be titled, unless it's a fee change like with our conference. Something like that requires a different process. So if everybody can just bear with us as we work through that, but I think in the end, it will hopefully save us some time down the road. So we will now start with our opioid fund transfer, resolution 02-2024. If somebody would want to make a motion on that resolution.
I make a motion to, on resolution number 02-2024, to accept as written.
We have a motion. Can I have a second?
George, I'll second the motion.
Great. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Thank you, everybody. So you can move forward, Nathan, and let the county know that we will be transferring all our unrestricted money to the county. And then we will move to the next agenda item, the transfer of funds, resolution 03-2024. I don't know if I can have a motion on that.
This is George. I'll make a motion that we move on resolution 03-2024
2024.
This is Brent, I'll second the motion.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, hearing none, motion carries. Thank you. And now we will go to the 432 Point Park Sewer Easement. Robert, are you
Yeah.
presenting that?
So, we received an application from, Todd Ramsey at 432 Point Park Drive. Wanting to, as required by the ordinance, he needs to have a new grinder station installed. They do, a little bit of delay here, sorry. They, between the Zacharches and the Ramseys, they do share a grinder. As allowed by our ordinance, but the ordinance requires that it needs to be within 30 feet of the road right away. And exhibit C is the proposed temporary easement, and permanent easement, and then in red will be the vacated easement. Which will be abandoned in place, for use by the landowners. They did sign, and I have received proposed share connection plan as laid out. If the town council approves tonight, then we'll continue moving forward, getting the easements and items in place, so that way they can continue moving forward with their ILP project. I think that's all I got, unless you guys have questions for me.
Any questions for Robert?
So were there any changes, the copy that's in the council pack? Not the signed version, did anything happen?
No, the one I put in the council package was, before they got back to me signed, they were both out of town at the time that I sent it, so I have them here. And then I have their application on file, and they didn't pay the fee for that.
He was trying to meet council president's deadline. Everything's loaded in Teams.
This was evaluated by, for you and Dan. You're good with it?
Yes.
What's the exposure to now? Cost?
Any other questions? We have a motion.
So I would make a motion to accept the proposed connection plan. Contingent on the completion and signature of the vacated easement and.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Brent, I'll second that.
Brent, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion carries.
All right.
And I would like to make another motion relative to this topic that we authorize Robert to proceed with the approval of the ILP without the completed easement.
We have a motion. Can I have a second?
George, I'll second it.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Robert, and you'll follow up with the Ramses and Zacharches. Thank you. Thanks for everybody. I know a lot of people were involved in that, so thanks to everybody, and the Ramses and the Zacharches for their patience with the towns. Thank you. Thank you. So now we'll turn it over to Brent on police staffing and ordinance 2024-01.
Okay, so first go around with this.
Okay, we're gonna, okay. I got the cheat sheets if you want me to walk over.
We're gonna go, a motion to introduce ordinance number 2024-01. An ordinance to amend ordinance number 2011-02 regarding hours of on-duty coverage of marshal and deputy marshal.
We have a motion and a second.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Now we should,
For
oh, Look at, you don't even need my lead in.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion for unanimous consent on ordinance number 2024-01. An ordinance to amend ordinance number 2011-02 regarding the hours of on-duty coverage of marshal and deputy marshal.
We have a motion, we have a second.
This is Bert, I'll second that.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, hearing none, motion carries. So that was unanimous. So now we can have a motion to adopt the ordinance.
President, this is Brent. I make a motion to adopt ordinance number 2024-01, an ordinance to amend ordinance number 2011-02 regarding the hours of on-duty coverage of marshal and deputy marshal.
We have a motion. I think you said.
Yeah, you did, you said up to
On when I said the ordinance,
the 2024.
Just restate your motion.
restating the motion for ordinance number 2024-01. An ordinance to amend ordinance number 2011-02 regarding hours of on-duty coverage of marshal and deputy marshal.
We have a motion.
I'll second that.
Thank you first. And now we will do, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, hearing none, motion carries. Thank you, Brent and Chris, for your work on that. I believe Jordan.
And Jordan.
And that as well.
Versus involved as well.
And so the ordinance is approved, and Brent, I think you have more on
Yes.
police staffing.
We have a little bit more. So we have recently had 2 officers resign, and council needs to decide if we would like to replace one, both, or neither. The Clear Lake Police Department's current structure regulates the total hours, not the total number of employees. Chris has recommended replacing both officers to allow greater coverage options to meet the needs of our community. He would also like to see these officers be put in place prior to the beginning of summer, so we can utilize them during the peak seasons of our community. Should council decide to proceed with 1, 2 deputies, Chris would present qualified candidates to council in an executive session. This will allow our council to ask the candidates any pertinent questions they may have and decide as a group before moving on to the hiring phase. So with that being said, I'd like to open it up to council for discussions, thoughts, and any questions.
Or place
That's replacing the 2 existing officers. If we did not replace any officers, the coverage availability of the existing officers is going to be less than if we bring in additional resources.
We talked during our initial working on this hours. It's the number of officers, but there's another important piece to this, their availability. And that's where we stub our toe here is, we're second in line, and their availability sometimes is restricted. We peak on the weekends, and we need officers that will be here on the weekends, especially in the summer months, winter, not so much so. So I hope if we're out searching, we can find those individuals that need that need. And also it's not afraid of the water.
That's the goal. Yeah.
Somebody gotta go and vote.
Oh, yeah.
I think Dan, another question. Oh, were you, I'm sorry.
I'm done. Yeah, I'm sorry, Dan.
Yeah, that's.
That was it.
I think
Okay,
we're covered.
Not just, so the way I hear this, right, the logic is if I've got more officers, more opportunity to get the hours when I need them versus fewer. Correct. That makes sense.
And nothing new for me, I would just like to fill in the gaps that we have, skill set and hours, both of that. So
We
then,
have talked as a group, as council, and when we bring any new officer on, they are either going to already be competent in doing a marine patrol or make a commitment to the town that they will get the training and be there in short time.
And then could you walk through the plan, I know before summer and, we all know right now everybody's chomping here already, like, is my boat in, my boat in, my boatless? So when you say before summer, could you walk us through what your
Yes,
timeline?
so the first thing that we're gonna do, or that I'm gonna do after we have our discussion, is make a motion for council to approve Chris to post the open positions. Chris will post those open positions, review the candidates that come in. At that point in time, we will have to have the executive section, the session that I mentioned earlier. That will give us the opportunity to ask the questions about the weekend, ask the questions about the water. You'll be able to have the opportunity to talk with the candidates. And then as a group, we can make a decision on if we would want to move forward on any specific candidate or. At that point in time, we will go to the next meeting, which would be May. I'd be agenda, but 21st, May 21st. And we could hire at that meeting, make it official, which would meet the demands, the recommendation of Chris and the demands of the community.
So I have one more question on that, and thank you for outlining that. Actually, I have two questions. One is, Chris, I know you've already been working on this. You know that do you think we'll have a challenge getting qualified and candidates for the required skill set that we?
I don't believe so.
Okay, that's all I need. And I just lost my other question is, when we go into executive session, so for example, if tonight we agree to move forward with 2 candidates, I know the ask is 1 or 2. Scenario, we as a council say we want to move forward with 2 candidates. How many would you bring into executive session for us to interview? Because if we don't agree on 2, it might be better to have 3 or 4. So
My goal is to hopefully have, based on what I believe, probably anywhere from 3 to 5
okay,
people that could be interested.
okay.
Obviously, I won't know for sure until they turn the application back in. So, but yes, I would definitely like to have more than just present you with 2 candidates and you guys have to say 1 or 2 out of those 2. Hopefully, there's going to be 3 to 5 possibility. I will tell you, we got some of the potential candidates were recently hired by the town of Orland, so there may not be as many as what I was hoping to have available. But I'm still hoping for about 3 or 5.
Yeah, Orland's the same scenario as Clear,
Correct.
just without water.
Yes.
If you can't drive a boat, go get
Would it be beneficial if you would have help in the interviewing when we interviewed other candidates here at the town? I've stepped in as HR rep for the community and, 2 heads are better than 1 scenario.
Under those parameters, I would say yes, but under these parameters, I'm going to say probably not, because I've been very familiar with the ones that are probably going to apply. I either work with them almost on a daily basis, or I've worked with them quite a bit in the past. The majority of them are probably going to come from the sheriff's office. So they will all meet the criteria already, qualifications and everything. They're all qualified law enforcement officers. All of them have been on for quite a while. Some might be 1 that's got a little bit less time on. But they're definitely all would be definitely qualified to apply for this position. It's just whether or not during an interview process, what they talk about as far as their availability for weekends and what their thoughts are about working on the boat. I talked to all of them here recently, and they all understand that they would be required to work some hours on weekends as much as possible, when they're available. And also would be required to be out on the boat, so they're aware of that.
Yeah, I also think it's important that we get somebody out there in the summer, a night or 2. Doesn't take many to just show your lights and gets us in check.
And Deputy Snyder is very good at that when he is available. So that's kind of, going back to the 2 officers, is having that availability for weekends, being out on the boat and things of that nature versus just the 4 that we have right now.
Any other questions for Chris or Brent on this? One thing that I would ask the two of you before we move forward with a motion is recognizing that we want to bring that to the May 21st meeting, is let's be real cognizant of the time. And I don't think that's a situation where we want to do the executive session prior and on the same night, because if we're interviewing 3 to 5 candidates, that's going to be an awful lot, and I don't want to rush. I want to be very fair to the candidates and to the two of you and council. So that would be my ask. And then keep in mind that with an executive session, Nathan's going to have time to post that publicly and the reason. So advance notice, you know, when you're reining things in, it just, it's easier to get it on the books.
My goal is if it gets approved tonight, to get it put up tomorrow
Okay,
and probably have them respond back within a week, actually.
okay.
And then I'll have those applications and I can let you know how many there are, and then you guys can decide on when you want to have that executive session.
Okay, so when we get to that point, then maybe you pull council and figure out when we could do it. I know everybody's schedule varies. And then Nathan, you and I this week will get together and we'll figure out exactly what Indiana code is going to go in that public notice. So that way you're ready when Brent says, let's go.
I guess the only other thing is, prior to that executive, we could maybe have their resume or their.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's
That'd
what
be beneficial.
the last time we went through this process, sorry, I should have included that in the executive session. The last time we went through this process and bringing on new officers, all the resumes were provided in advance because it gives the council members the ability to look, see what's on there, because there may be questions that come up from some of the information that's shared on the resumes.
Thank you. Thank you, Chris and Brent. And George, thanks for volunteering to help. I know, so this is great.
So you'll do the initial evaluation.
Yes.
When we get together, special session, it will be your recommendation. At least the candidates all meet your threshold.
Correct.
Competency and skills.
Yes.
So I'll entertain a motion for 1 or 2 or none.
This is Brent. I'll make a motion to post 2 new deputy marshal positions, ASAP.
I'll second the motion.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, hearing none, motion carries. Thank you, George, Brent, Chris. I know you guys worked really hard on this between the ordinance and all the conversation around this. So thank you. We look forward to the candidates. After seeing 2 jet skis out after dark the other day, I was like, oh, don't tell me it's gonna be one of those summers. How long would you be?
It's cold.
They were. It's true. It is. Okay, we have now unfinished business, so we will now move to our monthly reports. Oh, I'm sorry, was there something else?
Lexical.
Okay. Whoops, yep, it's sitting right there. Sorry, Brent, didn't we?
No, that's okay. Lexipol was brought up in the past. It was discussed and we were asked to present the original quote at the next council meeting. So Chris has provided that. We would like to move forward in the process. But obviously, we've got a little bit of a price tag to discuss.
So is this an old quote or a recent quote?
It's a new revised, it's not a newer revised, this is actually the same quote we got last fall. When we first talked about it, this is just it's the same dollar amount that I received last fall, it's just actually in a contract one now. So the price that I look from last fall is still the same from what we originally talked about. Represented.
So it's active. It's an active quote.
Correct, yes.
With the response.
Correct.
Okay.
And if anybody needs an update on what exactly this system is, I can kind of talk about that.
Why don't you go ahead? I think.
Right, Chris.
So the Lexipol basically, right now the police department has our policy and procedures. So when I got hired in back in 2017, the last time our policy and procedures were updated were in the mid-80s, 1980s. So I updated them in 2017. That took me almost probably about 9 months to do, to rewrite, the policies. I think the policies from that time frame were maybe about 10 pages long, they're now 200 and some odd pages long. So they definitely were updated. However, every year, state statutes can change, which can affect our policies and procedures as far as what, how we do enforcement and things of that nature. The Indiana Law Enforcement Academy, real recently has been doing a lot of updates to use of force, our required amount of training, things of that nature. So that is a continuing thing that gets updated all the time. I am not a lawyer, so it is a little difficult to keep up on some of that stuff, with all the legalese and the wording and things. So this company, Lexipol, writes policy and procedures for law enforcement, and they also will tailor it for the specific state that you're in. So for Indiana, anytime there is a state statute update or the Indiana Law Enforcement Academy Training Board changes something, they will automatically update that information in our policy and procedures and make sure that all our policy and procedures are within federal law, state law, any local labor law, and also best practices within law enforcement. So they update that whenever that does occur. So it'll be up to date. They also offer, as far as implementation, training bulletins every month. A certain number of training bulletins will be sent out to the officers. Once those training bulletins are sent out, the officer will have to review the policy. They'll go through the training that is provided by Lexipol, and then it'll actually be recorded that they reviewed the policy and that they completed the training process on that. So the initial implementation, the officers will have to review all the policies and procedures, go over it, and they will actually acknowledge that they have reviewed each and every policy, and that'll be recorded the date that they actually reviewed it, and that they understand it. Then any new updates, same thing, they'll actually have to read through it and they'll have to acknowledge it that they actually read through it and understand it. And then those training bulletins will be the same thing. Every month they'll get those, they'll go through it and acknowledge it, and actually, it's almost like a little quiz that they'll have to take. And it records all that information. So if there's ever a question whether an officer read the policy or has acknowledged it, it's actually recorded in the system when they actually did it. So if we ever need to go back and if they say, well, I didn't understand, I didn't know what the policy was, or I didn't know that was a policy, I can easily go back and say, yes, you did, you acknowledged it on this date. So if there's ever an issue with that. So the implementation of it, quite the price is there. It'll be a process that I'll work with Lexipol on to make sure that the policies fit our department, because obviously we're a smaller department. Some of the things that Lexipol has in policies and procedures may not pertain to us. For instance, we don't have a K-9 program. So that would be one policy that we would not have here at Clear Lake. We have a Marine Patrol, so that would be something that they would make sure we have a policy on our. And then the other price in there is the annual subscription rate. So every year, we would have an annual subscription rate that we would have to pay to keep the policy going. And that's basically for them to update our policies and procedures with any law changes that occur or court cases that happen or best practices that are changed. If we implement this at some point down the road, let's say 5 years from now, the council at that point doesn't want to renew the contract. It would have to renew the contract. We would still have the policy and procedure up to that point that's up to date. It just would not be updated after that point in time. If for some reason, the council decided not to renew the subscription fees anymore.
How would this be different than what you have at the sheriff's office?
This is what we have at the sheriff's office.
Can we have an ordinance here that ties us to the work at the training that you do at the sheriff's office, the sign offs?
What's that again?
Can we do an ordinance here that would tie us to the sheriff's office, Lexipol?
No, because the policies at the sheriff's office, there are some policies that the sheriff's office has that would not pertain to here, such as KID, SWAT team, things of that nature.
But we don't have an additional apply.
They just would not apply that. Even though, so the policies and procedures are going to be a little different from Clear Lake versus the sheriff's office. Major thing of that is going to be the wording in there, because the wording of the sheriff's office says sheriff's deputy. We have a merit board system at the sheriff's office. We don't have a merit system here. So there are some differences with the sheriff's office, and we just couldn't.
Just sounds redundant to what you guys already have, and it's a lot of money for redundancy.
It is, the wording is going to be different, because up here it's going to say, Clear Lake Town of Clear Lake, it'll say the, Clear Lake Police Department. And then there's going to be those differences between the sheriff's office. So we couldn't use their policies and procedures, because the wording is different than what we have up here on certain aspects.
I guess lastly, I'd just be curious if there's a legal opinion as to how much this reduce our liability, our exposure. So from our attorney.
Right, I think, Nathan, there was no discount, I think, or anything through the town insurance or anything like that. I remember right from last fall, is that correct?
I think that's.
I don't think it changed, we just changed it, as far as increasing our liability. So liability is still the same as whether
we have it or not.
have it or not. I mean, we already have policies and procedures in place that the insurance company has copies of. It's just, this keeps it up to date. There are sometimes that laws, they get changed, or there's case law that comes out that I may not hear about right away. So if they, like, this is all they do, so if there's a court case decision that comes out, that would affect us here in Indiana. Our policies and procedures would be updated. That makes no sense.
And I don't think this was in the budget. I'm looking to,
Now,
for 2020.
in October, discussed it. Out of budget. Discussion. Now this, because there's no reuse, as George, spoken at with the sheriff's office. That means we have procedures, you've manually updated those.
Yes.
And if we don't use Lexipol or something, that takes you off the street.
Correct.
In order to maintain the procedure. So
Yes.
I think that was an important part of our conversation. I just wanted to read.
Yes, that's correct. It would. So depending on what needs updated, how often updates come out, things of that nature. Yes, it does take me off from patrolling city office updating policy. I would not have to do that. We get a new policy in. Lexipol, I review it, make sure there weren't any changes that need to be made for our particular situation here in Clear Lake. And then once I sign off on it, Lexipol will get published and automatically update our policy procedures.
And that would be what, 10% of having to do it all yourself.
It depends on how many law changes there are, so it could be 10%, could be less, could be more.
No, I mean, if you were strapped, I think the procedures.
Yes.
Manually, as opposed to reviewing, correct, presented by Lexipol or somebody, so it would be 10%, 90% saving.
Oh, yes.
I'm just, it's order of magnitude.
Right.
So and at that point in time, we would look at it as a long-term investment. After we get the implementation costs, if you look at the annual fee, it's gonna be savings for the town. Yeah. It's gonna be savings for the town in the long run. Not right up front, but in the long run, it's gonna save hours of or it's gonna eliminate office hours and allow us to employ the police department.
Yep. One of my comments on the contract, and this would be, in the annual subscription, if we can get them to commit to a number of years at that price. But we can ask. I've learned if you don't ask, you're not gonna get it, but I just think they're and explain that we are small and there's a lot of components that we're not gonna use. So I would just ask you to ask.
Yeah, and I do know they took into account that we have 6 part-time officers, and they only charge this for 1 full-time officer. They did do this.
That's how they came on the pricing, because we had the part-timers. If they would have taken into account for the headcount versus the.
Actually, because I know we had a small discussion prior to, the town of Fremont looked at this as well. They have think we have 6 officers now, and it's gonna be a little over $25,000 for 6 officers, 6 full-time officers. Yeah, 6 officers, yeah, so it's about $26,000. Not a free month, the same thing. The full-time officers versus we have 6 part-time, so they just count as.
So we've had discussion on it. I know before we could really make a motion to approve this, I think we need to find out where it would come from in the budget. So I think I would just ask council kind of, what are your thoughts on having Brent and Nathan work together to find out where this comes from the budget, or we don't want to this year, so just for discussion.
I just have one quick
Yep.
question. Are there any other services like this, or is this the only only company that does this kind of work? This the sheriff uses this Fremont,
Yes, the sheriff's department.
Angola.
Fremont does,
Does
because
not.
they couldn't afford it.
They're using parts of it tonight. They just
Yes.
approved to use parts of it at a cost that they could afford. So they are using it for a training at 2 different training programs, Fremont approved tonight. So they're gonna start in not this program.
But this
This company and
So,
a
yeah.
program that they could afford.
Sheriff's Department uses it, I know Eagle Police Department does use it.
And to your knowledge, this is the only firm that offers this type
At
of
least
service.
yes, from what I'm aware, when I checked around.
I'm sorry.
No apologies. I just, we've had discussion. We don't need a motion since we're not approving it. But I just kind of general consensus for Brent and Chris to know if Brent and Nathan should work.
My recommendation is that we tee this up in May's council meeting, that in the interim, I'm in favor of pursuing Lexipol, but in May, we would bring this quote together with a resolution to add the budget to the lit fund. I won't say it's available, but I pretty much know it's available. So just work with Nathan. Prepare that. It's my recommendation.
Chris, if you can get with your contact and get Molly's question answered on the annual. Yep, I can do that. And then Nate and I will work together and we're gonna move forward.
And if they could put a date on this, there's no date on this, which seems a little dicey.
Molly, the last page.
Oh, all the way.
3/1/2024, revision 3.
Oh, got it. Thank you. It might be good to have it on the signature page. Just, I know, contract break over here. Thank you, Chris, for doing an overview for those of us that could remember last year what all was discussed. So now we will move forward with the monthly reports. Nathan, you're up with the financial reports.
Yeah, the financial reports are on file, the revenue appropriation fund report. As far as what we've been doing in my office this month, golf carts have started coming in. So that has been a steady thing starting about 2 weeks ago. We have, with Jen's help, we have all of the ordinances and resolutions prepared to go to American Publishing so we can get them codified. I will most likely be taking them tomorrow to the post office and they're sent down so we can get an estimate. There's no way I can get an estimate until they get them and look at them. The Tahoe is gone and we have the money in the bank. And also we received our portion of the CCMG money for our street work for this year. That's what I have.
Great. Thank you very much, Nathan. You've been busy.
Nathan, I think, we've been working closely together to resolve some of the issues that we had last year. One that's still kind of nagging at me is we don't seem to have a balanced situation between the transfers between sewer and sanitation. So I would just mention that to bring your attention, focus in on that.
I've actually talked with Keystone about trying to simplify that process like me and you had talked about last month. Working through a couple different things. Now that I have a really clear understanding of how the system works, we're gonna try to simplify things to make things a little bit smoother, hopefully this year.
Okay, let's then work together on some other simplifications ideas that I have.
Sure.
It's getting about budget time, so I want to have those simplifications in place.
Yeah.
You know, to make our job a bit easier and actually it's more sense.
Thank you. Any other questions for Nathan, comments? Okay, back to Chris. Well, somebody's getting some airtime.
For the month of March, the monthly hours worked were 108, monthly miles driven were 330, zero clock hours. Areas of concern, the police department investigated 3 cases, the sheriff's office investigated 2 cases within the town and 3 cases within the township. The police department issued 8 traffic violations and conducted 1 vehicle inspection. As far as the cases investigated, police department had 1 welfare check, 1 suspicious, and 1 medical. Sheriff's office within the town had 1 alarm and 1 suspicious. And in the township, there was 1 vehicle fire, 1 invasion of privacy, and 1 medical.
And when will the boat be going in?
When it happens, we find out exactly when the dock is going to go in. So once we get the dock in, hopefully shortly thereafter, usually we try to get it in about the middle of May. But I'll follow up with Deputy Snyder on that and find out where we're at with when the dock was.
I know we're a little early right now.
But I don't think the one was put in.
So evidently the dock just must got put in recently, because it wasn't in.
And I know the requirement, a lot of them are requiring the docs to be in.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So since the dock is now in, I will get with Deputy Snyder and get him, with the marina, having the lift schedule to be put in. And then, I know me and Deputy Snyder will clean the boat up here probably for the next couple of weeks. As soon as we get the lifted, we'll get over the water. Usually try to get it in about the middle of May, so hopefully that time frame.
Great, thank you, Chris.
I know it was. I know I looked at it about a week ago and the dock wasn't in yet, so it may be in now.
Anything else for Chris?
Good job.
Yeah,
Overall.
nice stuff. Brett, you're up with the fire department.
We switched it. You shouldn't be seeing
Oh, okay.
much now.
Yeah, you'll
I don't know
probably
what
have
happened.
to.
I'd have to go follow.
Yeah.
I'll just look at the screen. Thank you.
So for the month of March, the town of Clear Lake had a total of 9 calls. 4 agency assist mutual aids, 2 lift assist, 2 medical assist, 1 CO2 investigation. The Clear Lake Township had 4 total, 3 medical assist and 1 fire for vehicle. There was a slight increase that you'll notice in the overall timeline from February to March, and that was equated to 2 additional lift assists, 2 additional medical assists, and 1 mutual aid increase. We had a flip-flop of alarm inspection in the CO2. Watch that. So that's where the increase was between the month of February and March. And that's reflected when we look at the overall summary.
Thank you. Anything for Brent on fire? All right, Robert, you're up with the zoning administrator's report.
All right, so for this month, or for the month of March, I should say, we issued 9 ILPs, 17 for the year at that point. 0 after the fact, and then 4 ILPs not needed for maintenance reasons. We did have a BZA this last month, or actually this month. On 4-9, we heard 2 cases, one from Eric Nelson Belfridge at 105 Billings. For development variance was approved 5-0. And then one from Peter Disser at 335 Hunter Drive, we got a development variance, which was denied 4-1. And things to know, Have an upcoming training next week for mandatory floodplain administrator, so that should be fun. And that's all I got for you guys today.
Any questions for Robert? I just want to say, I know I received comments and probably other council members that having the information post the BZA available on the website was very well received. So thank you.
Nope.
And now we'll turn it over, and Robert, I think you're doing Guy's superintendent report.
All right, so guys, report for March. Guy had 160 hours, Brody had 160 hours. They had Ford Road cut permit, 0 downloads, instead of 7 letters of non-objection. They did 21 locate calls, 1 alarm. They replaced 1 grinder, repaired 2, and they're in process. Set up 0, newer repaired pumps ready to be placed in the system at 30, 14 box, 9 remanufactured, and 7 new. Average flow is 20,697 gallons per day. They put 268 miles on the sewer truck and then 83 miles on the street truck. Before I move on to the quotation, I don't think.
Yeah,
there are
if
any
anybody
questions.
has any questions, just reach out to Guy. And I think you all saw, in case you get questions, the reach alert on the leaves are gonna be picked up as they accumulate. He'll be going around picking up the leaves. And I know he's not here, but I'm sure people will talk to Guy. He did do a lot of work when we had all that rain. I believe it was last week. We had some areas over on West that needed to be filled in with gravel. And so it was good that he addressed it before we had a bigger problem and roads decaying. So just so folks, know that he was aware of that and, addressed it early in the morning. I think my phone rang 7:13, that he was ready to go get gravel. So I thought that was good.
I think it's wood chunks or something. Just
Mud
because
chips.
it's the
Mud
mud
chips.
chips. Yeah.
It's your farm's rough. Come on, right? Cracks in the house. There's also the other way. So so now,
Yeah.
Yeah. Robert?
To Guy's, I did talk to Guy about, making sure that he and Brody started to address the landscaping areas, the restoration that was done last year, but, get the seed going on those spots, get the, any plastic netting might be, coming up, causing issues with, people who are trying to, and fill in the ruts, so that is definitely his radar.
That's great there, because I've noticed that when I've been walking, so I'm sure some others have. So good, thank you.
One thing I was gonna follow up with, and Todd, since we're on the street department, have we noticed any areas from the improvements last year that we're not happy with the drainage or anything along those lines, or is everything kind of moving? Actually, with water, I should state it differently, flowing in the direction that you guys anticipated and wanted it moving.
Yeah, I think,
We've had a couple of big storms now, that's what I wanted this spring, that's
correct. Which did draw some faults. The one area in the new constructed roads is at 22 West Clear Lake Drive. So this was a known issue from last year. We've investigated what the design was intended to deliver, and at this point that the API delivered exactly what the design asked for. That doesn't mean we don't still have a problem. We still have a cooling problem at that driveway. And our next steps is to meet with the residents and develop that corrective action. So that's Todd, myself, Guy here. Everywhere else where we deliberately increased the capacity of the swales to address some of the concerns that Mr. Collins' area seemed to be working wonderfully. And then also the challenge that we had, over on the short section of West Clear Lake Drive. That, a very complicated, complicated because we had very little, design margin in the slope contours of that road to get the water to, Round Lake. And that seems to be working very well, so we're happy with that. So generally, everything is a success.
Scarlett's disappointed, because she can't jump over the cracks or the puddles and we go for a walk around that section around.
You're gonna have to change your walking path.
But she tells me I'm not allowed to step on the cracks, and then we get to that section, she's like, can I run?
I have, I'll just take this opportunity to say that I have received other questions from residents, particularly Quiet Harbor and some things. The road committee is assembling that list with the intentions of publishing the questions and answers on the web page, so that if those questions are in other residents' minds, we have one resource with one set of answers.
I know you guys have a lot of different variables to deal with, and now that we've got a nice spring underneath our belt, well, the start of spring underneath our belt, I see minimal concerns. Thank you guys for all your efforts.
We're hoping to continue that as we go around the lake.
We'd like to hear that. And now I think Robert is presenting a TriStar quote from in Guy's absence.
All right.
And I'm hoping that Bert and Dan have seen this as well and can weigh in a little bit.
Yeah.
Since it's infrastructure. So Robert.
So, doing my best here. So the first grinder pump on the Liberty station that is on the quote for 5792 is, our need for an extra one on hand, since we do have a couple of projects coming in that we're gonna need stations for. We're gonna exhaust our extra. And then the one below that for 7877 is for the condominium project grinder station. And that is at the request of the mayors and Guy, or however that was determined. And then additional, the things below are just additional equipment needed for those stations. So it is coming, and I've confirmed this with Nathan from 1223, which is I think our sewer, sorry guys. Our sewer pump appreciation. Thank you. We're budgeted for 150,000. We have available $137,247.42. So we still have money.
So do we have a motion for?
And I have actually Guy, because he looked at the budget, understood. Pose this to council.
Yeah, they asked me for it ahead of time.
That's awesome.
I do have a quick question. That second pump for, or second system for 7877.
Yeah.
Is that a unique pump?
Yes, it's taller, it's deeper, essentially.
It's a whole container. What do you chunk of concrete at the bottom of it?
Yeah, it's the whole system, plus the pump.
Okay.
I
got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Didn't we vote on that?
We did.
Yeah, that's right.
I was gonna mention that all of the condo project is voted on through the council. This is one component. Another kudos to Guy is that he worked with Jessica, ERI, and they together decided that instead of including the equipment in the contract to be bid and negotiated, that by the town providing this equipment, instead of we save on the overhead, the profit that would have naturally been included in the bid. And it assures that Guy preserves the configuration that he's able to support. Very good. So now it's 2 gold stars.
Oh, he's not even here. I bet he's on tomorrow, right?
Because of saturation.
Yeah. So do we have a motion to move forward with?
Yes, I would make a motion to approve. This quote.
Brent, I'll second.
Brent, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion carries.
Molly, there was one thing I probably should have mentioned, I forgot to mention. On my report, I did receive a notice of summons for Mr. Kaiser. He is gonna be taking a support on the BCA decisions, and I'm working with Mike on that and all the appropriate. Just so you guys are officially know.
Yeah, thank you. Can you please make sure that's on your next? Not details, since that's a,
Yeah, no, it won't be there.
thank you. And now we'll move to council member reports. We'll start, Bert, if you've got any. I think yours was addressed the first half hour of the meeting. Dan, anything you're?
Yeah, I'll just bring council up to the some of the road committee accomplishments this period. We did get, I want to say thanks for the feedback on the brochure that we have sent us. Finalized that, reviewed it with the road committee. I've actually asked Jen to go out for some quotes on that. They have it printed and folded so that the road committee is now moving into a recommended distribution plan for that. Okay. I would also like to mention that the road committee added one member to the committee. It's Chris Schweiker, who is in the condo. And we thought that he would be a valuable asset on the road committee, knowing that that's the project this year. So we'll have good coordination in the fall with those folks on pulling their watercraft out and their lifts.
That's a good idea.
So really happy about that. And then one other thing, Bert and I have been working with ERI, Robert and Guy on the GIS development activity. We've got a respond to our questions from Jessica on the contract that she put together to support us, Jessica being ERI, to support us in accelerating development. And we'll bring that to council next month for approval.
Great, thank you, Dan. George, Brent, anything?
I do. I just want to let everybody know that early May, I hope to have an employee meeting. Had a couple of changes. One is our handbook. We added no pets in the workplace. Also, we are developing a new purchase order procedural system. I think the employees have sort of grabbed it and ran ahead of us, but that's okay. I just want to go through the policies and procedures of the purchase order. I think we just do it collectively, 30, 45 minutes, and any questions that the employees might have to us. The agenda is open, so if council has anything they want me to add in an HR type meeting, I'll do it. You can either let me know now or drop me a note. But I hope this early May, and I'll be coordinating with Nathan. I think the two of us will have that meeting.
I think that's great. I would do a review of the code of conduct. I think that I know it's part of the handbook, but maybe just point that out.
That point, in one note that I failed to mention here, I think we need to review the holiday schedule. I think last election day, folks thought it was a day off, and it's not. We used to close down because the elections here, and we don't have it here anymore. So just need to make everybody aware that today is a work day.
I went through, we had 13 paid holidays.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's what we should have, but that's what we have right now.
Well, you could check with, I always say Chris,
Yeah.
the HR consultant.
Yeah. But, and we have reviewed that with her.
Perfect. No, I think that's great, George. I'm sorry, Brent. I didn't mean to.
I thought you were done.
I am.
Would it be okay just to have Chris attend what the deputy schedules and outside of here?
That would,
be
yeah,
okay just to have a
yes,
person?
yes, yeah, to try to get the whole, no.
The other can be difficult.
Yeah, I think just, Chris, that'd be. And this, I do have one last thing, and this is sort of a generic comment. Molly, you happened to bump into it earlier, this one invoice, or this Lexus bid. But when we do documents, if we could date them, I've been doing research and I'll run into stuff and there is no date anywhere on it. So when I do Word and Excel, I typically click a date, and sometimes I get rather intricate with it, with the time also. But it's just nice to have a document with the date on it. So when you're leafing through it, you know, you have the most recent one, or you know how old this document is. So as we do work papers and keep this date.
That's great. Thank you.
Is there a draft on the PO process that I?
Yes, I thought I sent it to
I
you.
can get my hands on?
I'll send it again. I think I sent you.
If you did it again, please.
Yeah, there's I think I sent you a form and the policies and procedures.
Right, if you have something.
Yes, I'm sure nobody up here has ever had to deal with any IT issues or anything along those lines, or Nate on Friday, or me not being able to get the fire report. Okay, so we all have some IT issues. Because of some of the recent spikes, Mid-Salt is going to be coming out to meet with Nathan and I. We'd like to invite you to join us as well. We're kind of working at the timing right now, but it'll be before the next council meeting.
Okay.
Obviously, from all the feedback I've got from the office, if something's brought to their attention, it is fixed in a timely fashion in the right way. But we want to have a general discussion with them, bring up any concerns that you guys are seeing as council members, anybody in the office is seeing, any of you guys are seeing. If you can get those questions to Nathan and I before the end of next week, we will address them with him and then go ahead and share that information from what we find for you guys as well. So just want to make sure everybody was in the loop on that and aware. We're going to be meeting. Nate, you said the sales rep's actually the owner, right?
Yeah, John, the owner, is gonna come out here. I've been having all kinds of computer problems. My email crashes and sometimes in the morning I can't get on my computer for 2 hours because it's just not working. So me and Brent have been talking, he wanted to meet with Mid-Salt anyway, so we thought it'd be a good idea to have him come out, just kind of give us a general overview and let everybody bring whatever concerns or problems they might have to them. So.
Well, we'll bring it to you guys on that.
Yeah, and I would
Another meeting.
I would ask you to please reach out to Plan Commission and BZA. I know today I was walking and somebody had shared with me that they have had trouble with their iPad as well. So if you could reach out to
And I should also say
members.
that they do a really good job. Every time we call them, they fix everything, but we just want to, have them come out.
Well, and if something happens at night and it's the night before a council meeting and you can't get your stuff in Teams, it'd be nice to know where
Yeah.
to go and call. So,
Like this weekend.
right. Yes.
Do they have a after hours? I know I can call or we can send them an email like after hours. But if it's like, let's say over a how long holiday weekend, is that?
I have called John on Saturday afternoon when I was not able to get on my computer. He actually picked up his, if you call it and it doesn't go, it'll go to the after hours line, and it was actually his cell phone.
Okay.
So he does pick up.
Yeah, share that with all of us. Otherwise I'm calling you. All right, thanks, council members. General discussion, council and attendees. Let's start first with anybody on Zoom. Bob, Mickey, Todd.
Hi, well, Molly, does you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you well. Thank you.
Yeah, this is Bob. I just want to thank the town council for taking an aggressive action, I think, with IPSCO to deal with the duplicate utility pole situation. I would just ask you to please keep the pressure on them because I've dealt with this for over 2 years and I've been promised multiple times that they would come out and take care of it, and so far they haven't. So I just think that the joint pressure from the town council carries a lot more weight than individual residents. I'm hoping for satisfactory resolution soon.
Yeah, Bob, we all are, and we all share the same questioning. Until we see action, nothing's happened. So yeah, we'll stay on it, and hopefully we'll get through that on a reasonable timeline.
Thanks, because the promises have been frequent and
Yeah,
they're cheap. But so far, there hasn't been anything done to date. So thank you, but thank you for the effort.
Thanks, Bob. Anybody else on Zoom? Okay. Audience, ladies and Todd? No, nothing. Okay, so
This is Brent. Molly, I'm gonna make Mr. President, I'm going to make a motion to adjourn.
a second.
George, I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, hearing none. Motion
Sorry, all council members, we got a lot to sign.
Every resolution.
Yeah.